Heyo. So there's this week, and then 2 weeks more to the week of the investment committee. So 3 weeks left. Um, Today was started out with us basically presenting, a pitch to one of the advisors just to get his feedback. One of the advisors, we value the feedback of in general, just says like it is, and we kind of realized that we're kind of aiming at two, in some ways, separate problems and separate solutions. Like one is optimizing investment returns in real estate, and one is more making real estate accessible, through fractionalization and all that. And doing them together, while possible, is not necessarily like each one has to be able to stand on its own and be its own successful business model. If you need both of them together to do it, then all you're doing is creating something that's as strong as the weaker of the two. So that's how the day started, and some disagreements about the path forward, validation versus start building, that old trade-off. I think now that we've focused on the U.S., like I wanted to do a little bit more validation because we had totally shifted to a new geographical market. And, at the end of the day, we, after sourcing some data, in the process of finding some data sources that we would use, found a data provider that has been doing, has raised tens of millions of dollars and has been doing kind of predictions for years, and so they basically are a better engine for predicting prices than we could build, at least in the short to mid term. So it doesn't really make sense to reinvent the wheel. So again, we're kind of like at this crossroad, or having this debate, because I'm very wary of building before validating, and that kind of popped up again today, and yet again we got burned for spending even just a couple hours building when it was when we're going to need to shift the business model and start thinking creatively. I mean, with this little time left, it's not looking promising per se. Yeah, I'm trying to validate kind of separately from the team. A business model innovation that's just a more better play on fractionalization. Doesn't necessarily use AI. It doesn't necessarily improve real estate returns, just makes them more accessible. There are REITs, there are blockchain-based fractionalization plays. There are things like Fundrise, which is e-REITs kind of concept. So there's competition there, but I think people have told us that they really want access to real estate, but then all these companies, these aforementioned kind of options, aren't really capturing that market. So I think there's a gap there, and I'm trying to dig into that more currently, because I'd rather validate and find a pocket of demand than have built something before the investment committee and realize that we built something that already exists somewhere else, or it doesn't really solve any problem, or solves two problems and therefore solves the weaker of the two. So that's where we are.